This is another interesting edition of your program, Business and Economy, and I am Ile Emeje, your host. As part of efforts to cushion the hardship faced by the masses in the country following the fuel subsidy removal, the federal government revealed plans to streamline taxes to 10 from the 52 in the coming days. Special Advisor to the President on Revenue, Mr. Zach Adedeji, disclosed this on Saturday at the Virtual Toppers 88th Second Lecture Series. Speaking on the theme, Revenue Challenges and Opportunities in Nigeria Today, he stressed that the government is doing everything to promote efficiency and accountability. Mr. Adedeji noted that multiple taxation had been a major challenge to investors and businesses in Nigeria, and that the government is working seriously to ensure a breather for all, especially the poor. According to him, the aim of this administration is to tax prosperity and not poverty, and to tax the fruit and not the seed. He further assured that in the coming days, when the tax committee is constituted, the administration will ensure that taxes are streamlined to enhance effective compliance. Today, on this edition of the program, economic analyst Dr. Akintunde Ogunsola is joining us after the business news to discuss the federal government's plans to harmonize the nation's tax system. Stay with us.
A turnover of 2.9 billion stocks were bought and sold by investors on the nation's domestic bourse last week, valued at 37.6 billion naira in 41,547 deals. Seplat Petroleum was top on the advances with a price appreciation of 21%, followed by Stanbic IBTC and Nigeria Breweries, improving with 19% and 10%. Conversely, Guinness Nigeria and Chems led the laggards with a loss of 10% each, followed by John Holt Nigeria dipping with 9.84%. In volume terms, the financial services industry dominated the activity level with 1.9 billion stocks, while the oil and gas index and the conglomerates contributed in 328 million stocks and 156 million stocks. During the week, All-Share Index and market capitalization of listed equities increased by 0.02% to close at 65,056 units and 35.4 trillion naira. Meanwhile, the naira appreciated against the dollar to sell at 775 naira to the dollar, 995 naira to the pound sterling, and 863 naira to the euro. Ile Emeje, ASO Television News.
Our guest, Dr. Ogunsola Akintunde, is here with us in the studio to discuss the federal government's plans to harmonize the tax in the country. Doctor, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me. It's
right.
a pleasure to be here.
All right. Like you heard in the intro, the federal government had recently announced plans to harmonize the country's tax from the former 52 to 10. What is it all about? Maybe to a layman that is watching us or following us on the program now, what is it? 52 to 10. What are the 52 taxes, and why taking it to 10?
All right. Thank you for this question. Actually, if you look at Nigeria's, let me start from the background of the tax to GDP ratio.
Yeah.
Over the years, it has been low. I think it was just this year that it's trying to come up to about over 10% now. So many Nigerians are actually not in the tax net, whether the tax net of the federal government, the tax net of the state government, or the tax net of the local government authorities. That's why some of them might not really know that we are having so much taxes, because they are not even captured in tax net, especially the informal sector. Some of the SMEs are still not in the tax net, so they might not understand. Now, talking about the 52 taxes, the 52 taxes is about all the taxes paid to the three different levels of government. They have their own tax authorities at these levels of government: the federal, the state, and the local government. It's obvious that anywhere a business is situated, is situated in a local government, in a state, and in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So that business will pay tax to the 3 levels of government.
Federal, state, and local government?
Yes, so that same business will pay taxes to the 3 levels of government.
Okay.
The same business, the same profits, the same shop, the same revenue heads is suffering from all these taxes. So it's becoming overwhelming. And then some of them are even interwoven, now talking about multiple taxation, because the federal has taxed, the state have taxed, even sometimes even the federal double tax a particular business. So these are the things that the federal government wants to look at in the coming days with the committee that has been set, to see that Nigerian businesses are not stifled out of business due to multiple taxation or over-taxation of these businesses.
Okay. When you say that a lot of Nigerians are not captured in the tax system in Nigeria, I want to ask a question because my question is on the backdrop of the fact that if you take a visit to any of our markets, both at the city center and at the satellite towns, it's rampant at the satellite towns. You see some persons who parade themselves as tax officers, or I don't know what they call themselves, but most of the time they used to tell us that they are tax officers collecting a certain percentage of amounts from these women that are hawking or that are taking small portions of the market to sell. What do we call them?
Yeah, it's part of the problems that we are facing. The fact that somebody comes and knock your door wearing a reflective jacket and you know, having a logo or a badge of the government, and the person say, "I've come," is the person collecting the data of those businesses? If you ask that person and say, "Okay, how many businesses did you collect these taxes from?" They just collect these taxes indiscriminately in the market, and then even some of them pocket this revenue. It doesn't get to the pockets of government. And that's why we said they are not officially in the tax net. They are just paying taxes to some, you know, elements on the streets that are taking advantage of them. And that's what the federal government actually is looking at, to see how to harmonize all this together. That's why the federal FIRS signed an MOU with MATAN so that they can, you know, streamline tax collection for the markets in Nigeria, so that they are not being multiple taxed.
Okay. If you look at what the federal government, the plans of the federal government says that it's going to reduce the tax from 52 to 10. And a lot of people may want to know some of these 52 taxes and how this would help to harmonize towards the benefit of the poor.
All right.
What are these 52 taxes?
I'm also one of the proponents of harmonization of these taxes due to multiple taxation.
Okay.
Just like I gave the background, the 52 taxes is an aggregate of all the taxes paid by a business or individual to the local government, to the state government, and to the federal government.
Okay.
Now, to the federal government, this same business that carried out his business within 1 year, let's say January from December 2022, the same business is going to pay the company income tax to the federal government. The same company is going to pay VAT on this revenue. The same company is going to pay education tax. That's 3. The same company is going to pay withholding tax. That is 4. The same company is going to pay capital gains tax, if there is any. The same business will still pay other accruing taxes. Stamp duty is also part of it, though they call it electronic transaction, you know, taxes now. They pay stamp duty, they pay VAT on the same money that is coming into their account. That is just only to the federal government. Now, there are other ones, but just to list a few of the 52. Now, when you come to the state government, they will also visit the same
kind of tax.
same business. No, different one. They say they are supposed to pay payee on the staff that is working in the same company. They are to pay payee on their salaries. They are meant to pay business premises taxes for the premises that is being provided for them to operate. They will pay the business premises taxes. They are expected to pay other taxes, possibly maybe they are into cryptocurrency and other, you know, I think there was one they brought again, radio, television, license taxes. They are supposed to pay that too. And so many other taxes being collected by the state for the same company. We are not even talking about individual now. Now, the local government will also come After these two levels of government have come, the local government will come. They will tell you need to pay tenement rate. If you are the owner of the property that you are doing the business, you pay tenement rate. The same local government will also come to tell you that you are still going to pay for using the premises of the local government. Again, business premises 2 times. You are going to pay that. Then the local government authorities will still come and say, okay, you still need to pay some other daily taxes for throwing the dustbin, for cleaning the environment. You still pay those taxes for one business in a particular year. So you will see a lot of taxes overlapping. In fact, sometimes before that, the owner of that business gets into his premises, he needs to still pay another form of tax to those people that you said they just come around.
They parade
20
themselves
naira,
as,
10 naira, 50 naira, 100
on a
naira.
daily basis.
On a daily basis, you are still paying that. And on what account are you going to put all those monies in your books?
Maybe
So
it's
these are
local
the taxes. The taxes are just too much on the same business, on the same profit. And that's why the special assistant to the president is saying, we don't want to tax the seed. We want to tax the fruits. The seed are being taxed indirectly because you are paying this money small. They don't even come with, okay, how do you arrive? They just come and say, okay, business premises pay 200,000. How did you arrive at 200,000? Nobody is explaining. They just come and say, okay, you can go and you now begin to negotiate the tax. There is no template as to how they arrive at it. The tenement rate is also a kind of fixed rate and other forms of taxes that businesses pay. So I think it is better, as government is saying they want to streamline all these taxes so that you pay only those 10 taxes if they are accruing to your business. And then when these taxes are collected, then the 3 tiers of government can then share these taxes. But I don't think it will be as easy as that. Tax is a thing of law. So if we are harmonizing these taxes, it must pass through the parliament. And not just the federal parliament, it will also pass through the state parliament. So it's a thing of like we are trying to redraft our constitution. And I don't think it's something that will happen at the tap of the finger. It's going to continue to be a work in progress over a period.
Okay, reports had it some time ago that a lot of companies or industries, as the case may be, have tried to dodge, to run away from paying tax. I don't know if we will be right to say that it is because of these multiple taxes and that has led them to do all they can to deplete their liabilities such that, it is their liability that they tax. Can we be right to say that that is why most of the industries or companies we have in Nigeria tries to deplete their liability from being taxed?
Well, there are 2 things around that. There is the legal way of looking at the loopholes in the law, to actually reduce the taxes you pay. They call it tax avoidance. Then there is the illegal way that you just want to do any hook and crook means. You want to run away. You want to close your office. Anytime you see the tax people coming with letter, you close and run away. That one is tax evasion, which is criminal and is punishable under our laws. In fact, to as much as 3 years to 4 years in prison without the option of fine.
Wow.
Yes, it's tax evasion. But in this country, we've had less cases of people being prosecuted for evading taxes. So taxpayers can take advantage of the tax avoidance, loopholes, look for allowances, look for reliefs that the law actually says is your right. You claim them, and when you claim them, these reliefs, it tends to reduce your tax liability. That one is there. You need professionals, tax consultants and all that to help you handle that. But the second one now that people do, the reason why they are dodging, that's your question.
Yes.
They don't have trust in government even after paying these taxes. The taxpayers are now coming up to say, okay, we have been paying all these taxes. What is government doing for us? We don't have light. We still have to run on fuel or diesel to run our business. We don't have good enabling environment to actually operate. We don't have security. We have to employ security to look after our shops. We don't have adequate resources. We provide everything for ourselves. We provide the water by ourselves. We provide the light, provide the security. Even still go and look for the customers by ourselves. And then at the end of the day, we pay, and then government will just come and say, pay taxes. government is using this money to do other things that the citizens are not actually feeling the impact directly. And that's why some of them want to dodge. But if you are being caught, because tax is a thing of law, it's illegal. There's no excuse for you not to pay tax. They call it tax evasion. You don't have any reason for you not to pay taxes. So when you are caught, you didn't pay tax for 1 year, 2 years, the tax authorities will just write you a letter and then take you to court. And you go and speak all the grammar to the judges.
We always say, God forbid.
Yeah.
Okay, in addition to that, how do you think the harmonization will be of benefit to the poor? No, to the masses. I don't want to say the poor, but to the masses of this country. Yeah. When the tax is harmonized, what's going to be the benefit of the masses?
When the taxes are harmonized, it will improve compliance. We are still having low compliance. That's why we are saying our tax to GDP ratio is actually still low. The more people begin to comply with taxes, the more the tax revenue will go up. Government will be able to generate more revenue. The revenue leakages will also be blocked. So that's the advantage to the government. But to the citizens, taxes will now be made to, you can now pay it simply, easily. It will be transparent. You can actually see the templates of how they arrive at what you are expected to pay as tax. It's not going to be shady, just like somebody writing a bill and drop it at your doorstep. You are paying 200,000 for business premises. Whereas, how much have you made? They didn't even consider your profit or loss or whatever. They just, slam you bill, tenement rate. Oh yeah, this is your fee. You go and pay. Oh yeah, for coming every day, you pay 100 naira every day. They don't know whether you are making profit, whether a customer is even coming to knock at your doorstep. So this will encourage compliance on the aspect of the taxpayers. They will have confidence now in government. Taxpayers' money probably will now be properly utilized because government can now be held accountable on how they spend taxpayers' money. So these are the benefits that will accrue if government can actually reduce that. And finally, it will also improve, it will also bring about foreign direct investment. Many of our investors are running away because of taxes. They feel if I come and do business in Nigeria, the taxes will be too much. I think that's why the president mentioned that in his inaugural speech, that the issue of multiple taxes is going to be addressed so that foreign investors can come into the country.
But elsewhere, in other climes, people pay their tax, industries release they pay their tax as at when due without any enforcement or any enlightenment campaign. What do you think they are doing in those climes that we in Nigeria are not doing?
Yeah, the same thing that
Why do they have to force us to pay our tax?
It still boils down to the trust in government. People see a lot of corruption in the system. After paying all the taxes, somebody packs it away, billions of naira being looted from the treasury, and then they go scot-free. And then these are taxpayers' money, and government is not holding these people responsible. You see the rich, the people in government will begin to buy exotic cars, live in mansions, and then people will say, okay, these people are living flamboyant life on taxpayers' money. And then the taxpayer will say, okay, we will not pay if you people are just eating this money. What do they do in other climes? In other climes, government provide good transport system, at subsidized rates. It is with taxpayers' money. Government provide affordable and accessible electricity. There's nothing like light is going. Government, provide good roads. In fact, when there's one small pothole, before you wake up in the morning, this pothole is already filled. These are the things that make these citizens to have confidence. Security is there. You can sleep with your doors open because there's always a policeman, on your street looking after your area. And these are the things that government accounts that they use these taxpayers' monies to do. So if they are providing all that, why not? You are not going to hire any vigilante again. You are not going to sink any borehole in your house. You are not going to look for a generator to buy. These are costs that is being taken away by government with taxpayers' money. And that's why the taxpayers are encouraged to actually pay their taxes without being chased about, without being enforced by the authorities. They just go and pay. They know what they're supposed to do. They calculate it and then they go and pay. Okay.
The federal government also disclosed plans to separate the regulators from the collectors. Can we therefore conclude that there is a plan to unbundle the functions of the FIRS into 2 or more agencies?
Yeah, actually it's not really about unbundling to 2 or more agencies. It's about effectiveness. We talked about the touts in the markets collecting revenue, and government wants to curb that, because that's one of the ways that people, pay multiple taxes. And to do that, government cannot be policing the market every day and, watching who are those collecting the taxes. Let's stop them. They have to bring these people through, because you cannot just chase them away and then render them jobless. Government wants to bring them now into the tax collection system and say, okay, you want to be collecting taxes. This money is meant for government, not meant for your pocket.
Yeah.
So now we are going to register you and give you a license to actually collect taxes on behalf of government. And then you make sure you remit them. Maybe targets can now be given to them based on the data that they've collected in a particular market. So it's just to improve the collection system. The authority will be monitoring those collectors. Unlike now that those touts are in the market, the authorities are not monitoring them. They're just doing their thing on their own. They'll say they are from the state government or they are from local government, But when this tax system is now harmonized, whether you are from local government, you are from state government or whoever government, you must be registered, you must be licensed by only one tax authority that collect these taxes, so that effective monitoring of these collectors can be done, and then the taxpayers will not be shortchanged between paying to the authority and paying to collectors. It's only the collectors that will now be approaching the taxpayers. So I believe it's just to streamline the system, to also block the revenue leakages of taxes.
That's what I'm coming to, because I read a report where an expert came up to say that where the regulator becomes the collector, there is bound to be corruption, because there is not going to be effective monitoring and supervision. So what's your own opinion on that?
That's what I'm actually saying now, that the collectors will be different. The authority will be monitoring the collectors and also, in extension, doing audits on the taxpayers to ensure that what the taxpayer is, has claimed to have paid is what the collector has remitted to the tax authority. So the role of the tax authority will just be monitoring and evaluation of both the tax collectors and also the taxpayers, which will bring sanity into the system.
Okay, cross-section of Nigerians have also come up with a complaint or fear. They expressed some fears that this tax harmonization would also increase their burden, their tax burden. How do you think this will be true?
No, it will not increase tax burden. It's going to make it rather much easier, because these taxes is now streamlined to just a 10. And it doesn't mean that you will pay 10 taxes every year. No, it only applies to the ones that is applicable to the kind of business, to the kind of profit that you have made. It's possible that a business might not pay VAT, possibly because its revenue is less than 25 million, so it will not pay VAT. It will not pay company income tax. And then even VAT might be exempted. Then other taxes might also be exempted. So the burden will not be so much. Rather, is to also help the taxpayer to pay with convenience, so that they are not stressed up. They have to take their file and, go to the tax authority office and do all that. It's something you can easily do in your office. I was discussing with somebody over the weekend how these taxes are being collected in India, because they have a larger population, if not the largest population now. They are competing with China. And then their tax system is actually very effective. And the secret is that government assigns a tax consultant to a number of small businesses. And then it is this tax consultant that will go in there, collect their records, file their taxes for them. If there's any liability, that needs to be claimed, the tax professional will be held responsible. They have created jobs for the tax professionals. Their revenue is coming in adequately. The collectors are also working. And then the taxpayers, have less stress of thinking about their books, calculations, going to study, how do I calculate this, how do I calculate that? They can have more time to focus on getting more business, on doing more business for themselves, rather than, being engrossed with the workings of the books. Many of our SMEs don't even have accounts. They don't have records. And that's why many of them are not even paying accurate and adequate taxes. But if, let's say, a professional accountant also, or a tax consultant is actually attached to a number of SMEs or businesses, even by government pays them, it will make it will bring about transparency in the collection of these taxes, because even this consultant will be paid a particular percentage of commission based on, what they've been able to generate from the taxpayers. So there are systems that are working, and Nigerian can also learn from them and adapt it to our system. And let's see how it's going to work.
And again, if you take a quick look on the whole plan by the federal government to reducing the tax from 52 to 10, how do you think this will impact the business community in Nigeria?
Yeah, it will. Talking about bringing them into the tax net, this is also an avenue for government to actually collect data. That's why there's an MOU between the FIRS and MATAN that is in charge of markets. One of the role of MATAN is to see that they bring all these people in the market into the tax net, especially the informal sector. They need to bring them into the tax net. They need to bring them into the database. Governments can even go extra mile by, throwing carrots to them that, okay, if you are able to, if your name is entering our database for the first time, you are going to get tax credits of maybe 50,000 naira. So it means that subsequently when you make profits, you have 50,000 naira credits that we're going to use to minus from all that. And then that will encourage them to quickly, because they'll tell them that this is your money. The only way you can claim it is for you to, register on our database for tax. All these monies that government wants to share, the money they are saying they are sharing 10,000, sharing 7,000 and all that, whatever the amount, is supposed to pass through the tax system. And that's what America did during COVID-19. The money that, the palliative the American government shared was shared through the tax system. It was paid to those that are actually paying taxes. So if you are not a taxpayer, you will not be a beneficiary of the COVID-19 money. Unlike in Nigeria, you just say, go online and begin to fill a form. Then you are the one that will feel that this is the business you are doing. Maybe that person filling that form has never paid tax before. And those people had access to, 1,500,000 of government money. And these people have not paid tax before. So they need to strengthen our tax database to see that these data are collected. And then if there's anything that the citizens wants to benefit, the taxpayers should be on the priority list. Before we even talk about, even the civil servants too, they are also taxpayers. They are also in the database. They pay payee, apart from those that are doing businesses. So these are the ways that government should use to bring all those informal sector and other businesses into the tax net. Once they are into the tax net, it's more easy for them to be access to tax and collect revenue from them.
Okay. Some analysts have also argued that the plan by the federal government to reducing tax from 52 to 10 has no base. And the argument is based on the fact that the Finance Act 2020 as amended stipulates that
2020 or 2023?
2023 as amended, thank you, as amended stipulates that any business running in Nigeria whose profit or turnover is not above 25 million naira,
Okay,
is not
2020.
okay, yeah, should not pay tax. So now, when this administration is saying that they are going to reduce tax from 52 to 10 and that it is aimed at helping the poor to breathe, it has a clause there. How will you react to this?
Oh, yes. The poor have a waiver that if the poor is doing a business and his income is less than 25 million.
25 million, yes.
Yes, 25 million.
You are not entitled to, you are not expected to pay tax.
Yes, but you are going to be in the database. But the government, you are not paying tax, so not that you will not file. Okay. You will file now to show us. You will submit all your records. That's where we are going to assess. And we are going to now, check to see that truly your income is actually less than 25 million. So you'll be submitting your statements, your reports, including your bank statement, for us to verify that truly your turnover is less than. So automatically, those informal sector are now being captured into our tax net. Okay. And then government can be monitoring their accounts so that such a time, because small businesses will grow now. We are not praying that small businesses will remain small.
Yes.
So as they are growing and then their turnover is also growing, the taxes due to them can also be collected. They can also be audited to also verify that they are actually not earning up to 25 million. So the idea is for us to bring them into the tax net. Let them even come into our database and let us begin to monitor them. Be doing your business. We are going to be monitoring. In fact, government wants you to grow.
Okay.
You want your business to grow. You want to remain in 25 million. Your business should be earning 50 million. You should be growing. And then
At
as you
least
are growing, then we can be collecting those taxes. So that's the idea.
All right. For those whose business is not yet up to 25 million naira as turnover, you only need to file in your report and your statement. You are not expected to pay tax. Okay, we'll take a quick break now and we'll be right back.
Sir, can you please give us the permission to search you? You can go.
Is this a movie? If it happen.
Officer, I beg carry and go station. When our Oga come, you come meet am for there.
Hey, Mr. Man, I cannot do that.
Tell your guy to come to our station when he returns.
Am I in a movie? If it happen,
Mama, please. Mama, please.
Thank God you're here. Do the needful.
Mama, please, just 3 weeks
Madam,
now.
why did you invite us to come help chase your tenant now?
This is a civil matter now.
Is this a movie? If it happen,
If we follow
The new police law.
Glad to have you join us on this interesting edition of Business and Economy. And our guest, Dr. Akintunde Ogunsola, is still here, and we are looking at the federal government plans to harmonize the taxes in Nigeria. Ms. Doctor, there's this recurrent question, and I want to ask you again, that if all things are equal, the streamlining is likely to depress tax liability and improve the revenue base of companies. How do you think this can help control the persistent rate of inflation and unemployment in Nigeria?
Yeah, these are two different things. The first thing is that now taxes are reduced. All those multiple taxes are now taken away. Now, the revenue of the taxpayer will also increase.
It will increase. That's why I asked the question.
Because it's not paying multiple
Unemployment.
taxes again.
Yes.
The revenue of government will also increase because they've been able to block all the leakages in the system.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win situation.
Okay.
And it's going to make our country better for it. The taxpayer will now find it very easy to actually file his tax, and pay those taxes from their office. Thank God, the various tax authorities are now, they are now computerizing the tax collection procedure. You don't need to go to the tax office. From your office, from your mobile phone, from your computer, you can just log in. They will have send you an email giving you all your login details. From your office, they just ask you what's your turnover, you put the figure, what's your expenses, like that. Once you key in all the figures, the system will calculate your taxes due, and then you just pay at convenience. Very simple, very clear, and making it very easy for them. And those are some of the principles of a good tax system. All these things must be there, and then government revenue will have increased. When government revenue has increased, government can now channel this revenue to creating job opportunity for the unemployed. And then inflation will begin to go down because production from various companies will also improve, because the GDP, also GDP and inflation goes together. If the country is not able to produce, because our GDP is gross domestic product, if these companies are not able to do business, just like we are experiencing now, some businesses are also shutting down because of cost of doing business is going up. They can't afford to pay salary. This will affect our GDP, obviously. But when businesses can thrive, they can easily make more profit because it's profit that the government is taxing. Then that will boost our GDP. And when our GDP is boosted, inflation will also reduce. Because inflation is caused by too much money in circulation chasing few goods, or the persistent increase.
Or the cost of production.
The cost of production of these things. So if government is now channeling this revenue that they have to, to reducing the burden, giving good business environment, providing power, energy to be accessible and affordable, providing security and all these other basic amenities, then you see our GDP go up, inflation will begin to nosedive, and then unemployment will begin to reduce because people will begin to be employed. The foreign investors can now come in because they are now seeing transparency in the tax system of Nigeria. They can come in, they can easily plan ahead or budget or forecast that if I invest $1 million in Nigeria, after taxes, I should be able to get this. So these are the things that will help the country to move forward.
So in all, for those of our viewers and our audience that are following us, especially those of them that are unemployed, what should be our expectation from all of this tax reduction plan and the system in Nigeria?
Well, it is the duty. They need to know that in the first place, even the unemployed need to know that tax is law. For you not to be a taxpayer, you're already committing a crime. So before you even get employed, begin to prepare your mind
to pay tax.
To pay taxes. Because the slogan of FIRA says it pays to pay your tax. So just prepare your mind that you will pay tax either from your payee or from your income if you want to go into a business. Prepare your mind to be a taxpayer. Don't say, after all, what is government doing? Don't join the bandwagons saying government is eating the money, so there's no point paying taxes. If the law should catch up with you, government is eating money is not in the law as an excuse not to pay tax.
Okay.
So citizens should be patriotic by paying their taxes, and then when they pay their taxes, they can now hold government to to question that what are they doing with taxpayers' money. And if government is not spending taxpayers' money well, that's why you have the powers to vote. It's a democracy. You can vote out such government the next time. And that's how, a sane democracy actually works.
Okay. As we round off, what would be your advice to the companies operating in Nigeria? Should the tax be harmonized, especially on compliance?
Yes, the taxes should be harmonized. In fact, it's long overdue. And I know that the president is even aware of the multiple taxes. That's why he set up this committee to look into reforming the Nigerian tax system. Reforming, just like I said before, is not a thing of federal government alone. The state government and the local government authorities need to be part of this. They need to buy into it. They need to, bring everyone onto the table. They need to agree on what will be the sharing formula when this revenue is harmonized and generated. They need to also agree on a lot of things. And after agreeing, they now need to put it into a law. The legislature will now also put it into our laws, and then it becomes a law, and then the citizens will now follow. So that's why I said harmonizing the tax system is not something that we can just achieve immediately like that.
Okay.
It's a journey. It's a gradual process. It's a journey because the Joint Tax Board, which is also the overall board that harmonizes all the taxes between the federal, state, and local government, will also be carried along. And then we are going to strengthen our tax. We need to strengthen our tax courts, which is the Tax Appeal Tribunal. I was telling people this mentality of carrying police for enforcement, carry civil defense, take touts and padlock.
All the paramilitary and the rest of them enforcement.
It should be thrown away. We have laws. We have the courts. These courts are empowered. When you see somebody is not paying taxes, the next thing is not for you to take security operatives there to go and harass that person to pay tax. No, that is not in the law. The next thing for you to do is to charge that person to court and let the person go and defend himself in front of the law. And then when the person is found wanting, the person will see himself in the gallows. So that's how it should be in a proper setting, not this harassment that we receive from the tax authorities. I think the tax authorities should look into that. And then when this is harmonized, they should also harmonize collection. Collection should be done not with force. If somebody is not paying tax and you discover that this person is not paying tax, take the person to court. Don't, harass people. They need to pay tax and all that. So I believe that this harmonization will help us to bring all this to bear.
And to those who are of the opinion that tax harmonization will lead to more hardship on the citizens, what is your take?
No, it will not. It will not bring so much hardship. Even what they are currently experiencing now with the 52 taxes that we are paying, is it not bringing hardship? It's bringing hardship. So when they are reducing it from 52 to just 10, I think it's to reduce the hardship. It's not going to increase hardship. It is because of this mentality that is making some of them to run away from being captured into the tax net. But that's why I said government can also use carrots. You can throw carrots to them. When you come into the tax system, you begin to benefit some things from government, because government, if there's any benefit to be thrown to citizens, taxpayers should be considered as priority. So if you are not on the taxpayers list, you are going to be losing out. So that is the carrot that we are saying that government can also throw out in order to bring people into the tax net, so that everyone will be paying taxes as it ought to be according to law.
Okay. If you are not on the tax net, you are going to lose out. That is Dr. Ogunsola's opinion. And that is the place, that is where we are rounding off for today's edition of Business and Economy. I strongly believe we have learned something from today's episode of Business and Economy. The guest has been an economic analyst, Dr. Akintunde Ogunsola. Doctor, we thank you for coming on this episode of Business and Economy.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here again.
Well, and to you, our esteemed audience, we sincerely appreciate you for your time with us today on the edition. Have a nice week ahead.